CTV Power Play and Nanos Research conducted an exclusive poll on vaccine passports in Canada, asking, do you support, somewhat oppose, or oppose it being mandatory to produce a proof of vaccination for anyone traveling between the regions in Canada or attending a large gathering like a concert or a sporting event. Now, as we look at this graphic, and we're going to bring that back up, I want to bring in the CEO of Nanos Research to discuss the results, because I actually found these really surprising, and folks are checking it out there, Nick. What did you find out when you ask about essentially domestic passports?
You know, what's interesting, Evan, is that by a margin of 3 to 1, Canadians are more likely to support some sort of environment where proof of vaccination, a document that proves that one is vaccinated for travel within Canada or for large events would be acceptable. And, you know, that's basically 3 out of every 4 Canadians are okay with that. It speaks to the level of anxiety that people have now, the sense of urgency in terms of fighting the pandemic, and what they're willing to do in order to contain the COVID-19 virus in the country.
Yeah, look at that. 56 support it, which is a huge number, and then 18 somewhat support. So as you say, Nick, overwhelmingly close to 3 in 4 Canadians are okay with mandatory proof of vaccination, not just traveling between regions, but if you want to, you know, look, we all want to go to a concert or a sporting event or something. How does that break down regionally?
You know, what's interesting is that, you know, the one province or region that's a little bit of an outlier, the prairie provinces, where they're less likely to be to have a significant appetite. One of the big differences is actually generational. The older that you are, the more likely you are to support having this proof of vaccination. And if you happen to be a younger Canadian, the less likely you are to support this. So there's a significant generational divide on this issue. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, Evan, people know that they're at risk whenever there are large gatherings. People are at risk when people travel between regions or between countries, and that the support or appetite for some sort of proof of vaccination is actually pretty strong right now in Canada.
Yeah, and again, you were measuring domestic passports. We can only maybe extrapolate what this means for international vaccine passports, which are coming because we know the EU is talking about that. But it's interesting that the younger generation doesn't support it. There are going to be equity issues, political equity issues. Who has a passport, who not, what you can do, what you can't do, this kind of a two-tier world, Nick. This could pose some political challenges if anybody's introducing. Now, I just want to tell you, I asked the health minister on the weekend, Patty Hajdu, will Canada introduce a domestic passport? She said there's no plans to do so.
You know, the interesting thing, Evan, in all of this is that I don't think we should dismiss the fact that 1 out of every 4 Canadians are not hot on this particular issue. And I would expect that a lot of that has to do with people concerned about their freedom of movement and also the intervention of the government. You know, perhaps we need to have a broader discussion about where rights intersect with responsibilities when it comes to dealing with the pandemic. And yes, it's important to protect our rights, but at the same time, Canadians have the right to be safe and to know that they're in a safe environment. I think that's probably what explains the level of appetite for those that want to gather or travel significantly, for them just to be able to provide some sort of proof of vaccination.
Yeah, look, if you and I are going to a hockey game, I get it. You know, you may want to know that everyone there is vaccinated and that they're not a bunch of anti-vaxxers, but, you know, there are certain communities and marginalized communities where, you know, getting that kind of documentation might be more difficult, and there's going to be equity issues. So this is going to be, I think it's amazing. That's why I was so surprised that 3 in 4 Canadians in your poll, Nick, said that they support this, because when you talk about it, it's more divisive. So maybe Canadians are ahead of the politics on this. I don't know. But fascinating polling as always, Nick. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.